And welcome once again to Wizard World Virtual Experiences as the crowd emojis wildly. Let's see all your favorite emojis out there. I want to see hearts, your thumbs up. I know in Twitch there's like just made up things that you can create. So show us your love, show us you're watching. We have fans watching from around the world, everybody. Let's check in and see where they're tuning in from. I see people from England, Virginia, Texas, Pennsylvania, Italy, Germany, Brazil, just to name a few. Fans tuning in from around the globe, fans of the Netflix series, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, or just chilling, minus the. Some quick housekeeping things. You are here, Wizard World Virtual Experiences. We are streaming this panel to you completely free and completely live on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. But just know whether you're watching this live from the comfort of your home or you're watching it later on in the week, we also have some amazing paid experiences you can participate in as well. We're going to have a fun and amazing chat with these next two amazing actors for the next 35 to 40 minutes. But after that, don't forget to head to wizardworldvirtual.com. Again, that is wizardworldvirtual.com to check out some of those exclusive paid experiences. You can get one-on-one video chats, which will happen on Wednesday and Thursday of next week. You can also get autographs and video recorded messages, so you can surprise your favorite loved one with an awesome message from these two amazing actors. They are about to come out in a few seconds. If you are looking for past signed memorabilia from our past physical conventions or virtual experiences, don't forget to head to the Wizard World Vault. Again, that is wizardworldvault.com. All right, that's enough for me. Let's get these next two folks out here. I just finished watching the part 3 finale hours ago, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. We'll try to keep the spoilers at a minimum, but we'll definitely get to all of your questions for the fans out there. A ton of questions already in from Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. But don't forget, if you're watching the stream live, that you can tag at Wizard World or at Wizard World Virtual and submit your questions live as well. But let's get them out here. First up, a student at the Academy of Unseen Arts and the de facto leader of the trio of witches known as the Weird Sisters, has a bit of a grudge against Sabrina. Let's bring out Prudence Blackwood, Tati Gabrielle.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? I'm really excited to be here. I'm happy to be able to do this. Thanks.
Of course, we're so excited to have you here. And Tati, we can't begin. I know you already introduced this lovely individual with you. Tell everybody who's with you right now on your lap, joining us for the panel.
This is my little friend Beecher. He is my neighbor's son, and I've been helping this last month with her and babysitting him. So he's going to spend some time with us today.
Yay, Beecher! Thank you for joining us. Maybe a future actor in the works area.
I think he's going to be a musician. He likes to make music a lot. So.
Oh my gosh, equally as awesome. Equally as awesome. Beecher will talk. We'll be like, I remember the time I sat on your lap during that Sabrina panel, and that inspired me to what I am today. We can only hope. I hope you're enjoying your delicious applesauce. All right, let's bring out a warlock from the Academy of Unseen Arts, acolyte of Sabrina's father's teachings, one half of the now former, spoiler alert, or maybe, I don't know, it's up in the air, Nabrina, Nicholas Scratch. Let's hear it for Gavin Leatherwood.
Yo, what's happening, everybody?
What's up, Gavin? Thanks for joining us. We were joking beforehand. Tati, you're in a house with many people right now, and I just hope that they continue to walk by in the background. It's almost like you have extras on your set that you've hired to just like be there. Yeah. Oh, Tati, who's that? Tell everybody.
Hi, everybody. If you can't tell.
Mama, what is your first name? Introduce yourself to everybody.
I'm Tracy.
Tracy, you look beautiful, Tracy. Thank you for being here.
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't miss this one.
Oh, awesome.
Hey, Kevin.
Hi, Tracy.
Tati, you have your whole family there, huh?
I do, or most of my family. I have my cousin Ashley here.
Yay.
My hair is all wet. You're gonna get all wet. And my brother is somewhere.
He's outside.
Yeah, and my little pup.
Oh my gosh. This is we don't even need to really ask any questions. I feel like we should just kind of talk to you and your family about how everybody's doing.
We need to include because Gavin's not here. We gotta get everybody, and we gotta.
I like to listen too. That's all right.
Yeah. Well, Gavin, let's talk about you because we were joking beforehand, the juxtaposition of both. We've got a home full of folks. Gavin, you're like backpacking along the side of the street here. Tell everybody where you are and what's going on with you.
I'm in a van. I'm in Oregon. Me and my buddy, we've been building out this van for the past like 3 weeks.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's got Netflix. It's got Netflix capabilities. But yeah, this is like a little bed back here. And I've just been kind of moving about on the road.
Breacher, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Just decided to slam down onto the microphone. He's having fun. He's having fun. Gavin, well, this might be a great place to start. The joy of these panels so far for the fans is not only are we're getting folks watching from around the world, but we're getting to see a little insight into your all's lives. How have you been doing? It looks like you're both doing lovely. Your family looks awesome, Tati. Gavin, it looks like you're traveling. You know, how have you both been holding up during this whole quarantine and everything that's been going on? Yeah, why don't you start with why preachers?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, at first with it all, it was quite weird, you know. I mean, like what a weird thing to kind of happen in our time, and
yeah,
you know, I haven't experienced anything really like this where the whole world sort of like shut down. I was moving out of an apartment in LA when things started getting a little hairy, and even on the drive up, like hotels closed down, and that was the first thing. Like me and my buddy, like we're about to sleep in the car because we didn't know like where to stay for a night, you know, while we were doing this road trip.
Wow.
So kind of wacky, but like, you know, after some time spent in it, I feel like this realization sort of happened. Like you can't really control it. You don't really have control over the thing that's happening. And all you really do have control over is yourself. And when you kind of like simplify all that and strip back a bunch of, you know, what the world has to offer, you look at like, I don't know, you just sort of start looking at things differently. And I had this itch to just, I mean, I've been creating and reading and studying and learning, and, you know, you're in closer quarters with your family and not, you know, hopefully you're staying with family and whatnot. And, you know, you see parts of each other that you don't normally see because you're spending so much time with each other, and it can be good and it can be messy and it can be all kinds of things, but I feel like it's an incredible opportunity to turn inward and learn and to grow from this weird thing, you know?
Yeah, it's the thing that has been the common thread with these panels so far and just meeting all of y'all has been exactly what you said, Gavin. It's, you know, we put ourselves in an extreme situation, and a moment in history that could have been very disparaging and individualized has really brought people together more. You know what I mean? Connections have never been stronger. Again, like you said, whether you're with your family or you're with a friend, you know what I mean? And those of us lucky enough to have that. Obviously, I want to turn over to Tati, who seems to be that as well. Tati, tell us, have you been lucky enough to be with your family the entire time? Are you with them recently? What has this like past few months been like for you?
So no, I've actually been pretty solitary for most of this time. My family just got here about 2 days ago because I'm about to go fly to Germany in about a week to go shoot a movie. So my mom was like, I want to see your face before you go. Yeah, I've been, in the beginning, it was all very crazy. I was in Berlin when everything first kind of shut down. And they kind of shipped us out and was like, okay, everybody's got to go home. It was very hectic. When I got to the States, it was a lot of anxiety, a lot of like, oh my God, what's happening? What's the world going to be now? And after that first month, I kind of got into a flow of things. And like Gavin was saying, like, got a lot of introspection. I've done a lot of, I've been starting on some projects of my own, and I started painting. And I've taken this time to just do a lot of self-development and self-growth, and it's been really enjoyable in that way. Yeah.
That's so awesome. That's awesome. Well, and congratulations to you, Tati, for getting back to work. But we obviously wish you the best of health and safety and all of that. Yeah. So awesome. Let's get to a bunch of these fans' questions. And speaking of the fans, my gosh, this show just shot up incredibly fast. It became super popular, super quickly for a series that I think very smartly, has a very limited amount of episodes so far. We've got a part 1, a part 2, a part 3, 9 to 10 episodes each, I believe, or maybe like 11 episodes in the first one. But ultimately the fans just grabbed on, and my gosh, you all have Instagram accounts like named after your characters. I have Gavin Mexico in the house right now asking questions, and a ton, Tatia, a ton for you as well, with like your entire like name spelled out, you know what I mean, of Prudence Blackwood, the once and beautiful. And I just want to know, Gavin Mexico specifically wants to know, what do you think about your fans? How have you been able to interact with your fans much so far, either at physical conventions or on the internet, and just how do you feel that the show has had such astounding success, like really early on and right at the beginning?
It's honestly such a shock. Like I didn't expect it really at all. I didn't really know what to expect. I mean, this was my first sort of big gig as an actor, and
sure.
When the followers and fans, just like when that sort of happened, and I mean, it felt like the following grew overnight, which was crazy. I mean, it's overwhelming, to be honest, man. Like, it's such a beautiful thing to see that, and to see that people are enjoying what we do, and that there is so much love and support from fans. Like, that honestly makes the job such a beautiful like rewarding experience, is that you do this thing that you love, playing characters, and then when people enjoy it, it just like, it's just like the greatest gift that you can feel in return, you know what I mean? And I'm noticing, like, more often, I don't know if people are watching Netflix more often in these times, because we're spending more times indoors or something, but like, I'm noticing in grocery stores and stuff, people recognizing me more often, which is a strange thing to me still, but when it happens, it's such a great, like, icebreaker. I'm such a social person. I love chatting with people. I love making friends. And like, cool. When that happens, it's just like awesome. Like, we can bond and connect over this thing that, we mutually enjoy. And I look forward to having more experiences like that, and doing stuff like this where we're able to, connect in some way.
Yeah, this is so awesome. And again, thank you for being here. Tati, you came from the 100, another hugely fan-driven series, that also sci-fi and fantasy based. And shout out to who was it? Oh yeah, Aaron Telsey watching. That was just like, we loved you on the 100. I'd love to hear a little bit about, coming from that into Sabrina, 2 back-to-back, like, huge fan shows. Like, how does that feel?
It's insane. I mean, with the 100, I came on, sort of late.
Sure.
I came out in season 4, and so the fandom was already built, and to be received by their fandom with so much love was just mind-blowing to me. I did not think ever that I would have had the place and the role that I had in the 100, and to be able to garner that sort of love was really incredible. And so switching from that then to Sabrina, which is, a whole nother cult following in a whole different way. It's for Sabrina, it everything kind of hiked up, and that's I think when I was able to really grasp, I guess, the fandom, because with the 100, I like, when going to conventions and things, I didn't that everybody was there most of the time to see everybody else, and so it wasn't a huge thing for me. But the crossover and the way in which you're seeing how fans reflect the show that you're on, like the 100 fans are usually very like super sci-fi and very very loving, very survival and moving forward oriented, while like the Sabrina fans, I think of it as like rock stars, like, and yeah, yeah, and so I hope that answered the question.
No, yeah, totally.
You were taught, like, you were going from one set to the other. You were running lines.
I guess I can talk about that.
We would be shooting until the wee hours, and you were like prepping for the 100 the next day, and you're like, I'm so tired, like, so crazy.
Yeah, I guess I can talk about that. I did. The last 2 years. So season 6 and season 7 of The 100, obviously I was doing parts 1 and 2 of Sabrina, and so and both shows film in Vancouver, about 5 minutes from each other. Thank God. And so there would be days or weeks where I would have to go back and forth. There were even a few days where I would have to do both in the same day. So, and we have this thing in film and television called a turnaround or a forced call. Sure. So your turnaround usually is 12 hours from the time that you wrap to the time that you're supposed to start your next day. And if they choose to start you earlier than that 12 hours, it's called a forced call. The problem is with having 2 different shows, that's not really a thing. Oh, God. So I get off of Sabrina at 3 a.m. and have to be at the 100 at 7 a.m. And yeah, I feel really strong, and I'm like, yeah, I did that, but I was exhausted. There were days when I literally would wake up crying, like, oh, I just want to sleep. But overall, it's not an experience that I would have traded for the world. It taught me a lot, and
that is so amazing. And thank you for bringing it up, Gavin, because it's such a cool thing. I mean, because a lot of fans are asking about how you got started in acting and you know, how you bring your own personalities to the characters. I want to ask you both, but I want to start with you, Tati. What was it like, my gosh, transitioning from those characters? You know, like you already mentioned, this kind of dystopian sci-fi series to like rock star witches and hell type thing. You know what I mean? Like completely different aesthetics. What was, oh my gosh, it had to be mind bending.
Honestly, at first it was terrifying. When I first realized that was what I was going to have to do, was go back and forth. I was like, oh my God, am I a good enough actor? Can I do that? Well, and trying to make sure that the characters didn't bleed into each other and things like that. But it's really amazing how much costume and set and being around your fellow cast members, like, really puts you in a world. And so that ended up not being a worry at all. But it was a fun challenge to even find more nuances within each character to make sure that they stay separate. And I had a lot of, me and Gaia, as far as the 100, we're very similar. She's, in terms of, we're very peaceful. We prefer peace over war always, and fight for what we believe in. And Prudence is a lot further from who I am normally.
I pretty feisty like Prudence, Tots.
Well, okay, so I got this question the other day.
Moments, dude.
I mean, I do. So in that way, like, of course, I brought like a little bit of my own sass to Prudence, but in terms of like her, I don't know, like, I actually would say I learned a lot more from Prudence than I gave to Prudence herself. Prudence really taught me how to be even more so a strong woman and not back down for anything, and go at everything with full force. But I guess, I mean, I've got a little bit of the unapologetic nature of her now, and a little bit of the sass, but yeah. I'm not that close.
You're a sweetheart, Tots.
And
that's where you and Prudence differ.
Thank
you. Oh, that's nice, Gavin. You bring up a great point, Tati, and I think one of the best parts of the series, and credit to the show writers and the showrunners, the strong women characters are huge, and especially as we get to like part 3 and they really start to like take on their ownership of their powers and their choices. So I know I speak for a lot of the fans when we say thank you for bringing that strong woman character to the screen, because super important right now. So Gavin, similar question. This is coming from, again, a lot of fans, so I want to make sure I shout out all of them watching. Aurora Trelise, and then also Clavel Medina wants to know again, how was your first days on set, getting used to the character, and then what do you think you bring personally to your character of Nicholas?
Oh man. First days on set were excellent. It felt like a dream come true. I received news that I got the role, and then a week and a half later or something, I was in Vancouver. So it was like this really weird, like, pinch me thing. I had several moments of crying, of like sheer joy for like landing a job and having the opportunity to go and play this thing. And then my first day on set was with Kiernan. I was in a turtleneck and a blazer, and I was sweating because it was hot as hell. And yeah, it was just a scene. It was a scene where Kieran and I are on the steps out front of the academy, and I'm looking at like the Acheron configuration, and yeah, Kieran and I were just like hanging for 4 hours, and it was just like this great little vibe. She was just so smart and like professional, and had this like it's so hard to describe because it just feels so fantastical, and like
Yeah.
to experience it was just such a trip. But I mean, it was lovely, and we got on, and then I got to meet everyone else as well as the character kind of grew, and I didn't really know what to expect with Nicholas, and I just wanted to make sure that I was bringing something to him that was gonna be enigmatic a little bit, and just sort of alluring. I had workshopped the character several times with an acting teacher in LA. I was taking class at the acting corps in Burbank, which I don't know if it's still there anymore, but we had just like ran the scene and asked a lot of questions about who the character was, and there was a lot of like imagination with developing where he had been, and what he valued, and having a secret as a character I feel like is a really important and fun little thing to have, and because when you have that, there's something that's going on deeper, and people look for it because it's like leaving a little trail of clues to find who this person is, and you sprinkle parts of their personality and allow more and more to come out as scenes are written and opportunities are there to express different facets of the personality. Yeah, I kind of went off on a tangent there, but like, that's
what it's all about, and that's what this
Yeah,
is about.
that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you want to add? Did you want to add to that, Tati? I just want to shout out quickly because again, a lot of fans watching, and I love to get in as many as possible. Love Leatherwood, Love Leatherwood, another fan.
Are you saying you love Mike, or is
that's not a handle. That was just me talking.
You're saying
and
you
then
love Leatherwood, damn, bro.
Also shout out to @Love Leatherwood was asking the similar question and how you're doing during quarantine. So I just want to give them a quick shout out. But a lot of people are asking about, we talked about early scenes, but your favorite scenes. Lissar 1999 wants to know your favorite scene. And we talked a little bit overarching and how your characters have changed. We have, sorry, I'm watching like 3 different streams right now. Lot of positivity. Shout out to Taylor VA wants to know from you, Tati, specifically about your relationship with the other weird sisters. So yeah, let's hear a little bit about that early relationship, Tati, with your other fellow actors. And then any favorite scenes beyond that you've particularly.
Sure. So when I got the role of Prudence, about that, by the end of that week, they had scheduled a chemistry read with the girls that they were looking at to be the weird sisters. And I remember when I came into the room, and there were 4 or 5 other girls. And their plan was to put me in the room and just switch out the girls over and over and just try different pairings. And I remember when I first met Abby and Addie, my first impression of Addie was that she was super sweet and super shy. And as Gavin knows, we found out later that's not the case, in the best of ways. And then with Abby, I was like, at first, it's funny because now knowing Abby and she's this goofball, and I just fall of joy. I remember thinking when I first saw Abby, I was like, wow, she seems really like kind of intimidating, like just like. And then after meeting her later, and yeah, right.
I not picture Abby being intimidating.
I honestly think it was just because she was in all black and like her red hair, and I was just like, whoa, okay, cool chick. Through doing the chemistry reads and having the girls switch out, and I remember I wasn't feeling it, and the last round that we did was Abby and Addie and myself, and as soon as we finished, I was like, oh, that's it, like, because I felt good about it. I was like, and all the way into the point where they were like, okay, we want to just do one more thing with you 3, and we're like, what? And they're like, okay, we're going to back up all the way to the wall and just walk toward us. Just like badass walk toward us. And I was like, okay. And I guess they took it, and that was it. They saw the vision, and the 3 of us left together, and we were like, oh my God, yeah, we hope we see you guys. Like, and little did we know that a week later we would all be together. So yeah, we had it was definitely a click from the jump.
I had no idea that happened, Tati. That's the first time I've heard that. That's so sick.
Really? Yeah.
I don't know why, but this whole time, I don't know.
They were the only ones that I like met before like even getting to Vancouver. I didn't meet anybody. Or I met Kiernan. I met Kiernan for one of my audition sessions. But yeah.
The weird sisters walk is an important part of those characters. You know what I mean?
And I didn't know too. I didn't know who they chose until I got to Vancouver.
Wow.
So at our first like meet and greet dinner, like they didn't ask me who I felt the most chemistry with or anything. So I was just hoping when I left, like I really hope they choose these two girls. And at our first meet and greet dinner, they came in and I was like, yes.
That's
So yeah,
cool.
yeah.
That's so awesome. Gavin, you mentioned early scenes with Kiernan. Obviously, man, Kiernan is awesome and really brings life to the show. Any memorable scenes that stick out, either with Kiernan or just like from the 3 parts so far that we've gotten to?
Oh yeah, I mean, it might sound a little crazy, but I really enjoyed that scene in the woods with Kiernan. Like there's a scene where Nicholas like finally blows up and like speaks his truth, and it was like, I don't know, when I had first read that scene, it looked like a chunky opportunity to sink the teeth into as an actor, and like that's what you hope for. Are these like meaty scenes that have this high octane energy in it, and like being able to play it was so fun, and not, you know, not the yelling at Kiernan kind of thing, but to play and act in a moment that is like, you know, as an actor, I feel like your aim is to get as close to the truth as you can. And when that scene happened, it felt very what's the word? It's another hard thing to describe, but it felt like this strange magic, almost like the character and the emotion and everything sort of took over, and Gavin was like backing away, like the ego and the personality of Gavin was allowing this character and this thing that happens sometimes. And that's like the closest I feel I've ever gotten to achieving a moment that was leaving part of myself behind and allowing this moment to happen and exist in this world and to believe in it. And I don't know, it was a very cathartic experience, to be honest.
Wow. This show has a lot of cathartic moments in it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of young people going through experiences in their lives. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's a beautiful story. That's really cool. To like make it even more specific, because Emily Blair is watching from Ireland. Again, we have fans watching from around the world, so thank you for tuning in. Yeah, even Australia, man, our Australian fans are the best because they're watching at 3 a.m. right now. So shout out if you're watching.
Shout out to Australia, thanks.
Yeah. and New Zealand too. We have folks.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. So they Emily Blair specifically wants to know, is there a specific line that sticks out as a favorite line that you got to deliver as a character? I know that's always hard because there's so many lines. But
Thoughts?
There's brother in the background.
Yeah, there's my brother. Let's see, what is my
Why do you have to be such a bitch all the time, bro?
If you have favorite lines out there,
yeah, dude, we still got it.
I love shooting that scene. Can I just I remember, yeah, like Gavin. That was my first time working with Gav, was doing that scene, and like the way that our chemistry just off the rip just went. It was like, oh, I know this is gonna be a good ride.
It was fun, yo. I loved sitting opposite you because you already had this like power that you brought with you to set, and in Prudence too. Like, I mean, she's a badass, you know what I mean? And so are you, but like you really allow Prudence's power to like come through, and then sitting there and having that little like back and forth duel and feeling this chemistry and history between us was like so fun to play with you, Tots. It's so fun to jam with you.
Well, that's a great segue, Gavin, because Colvina Magic wants to know, did you know anything or had you researched anything in the original novels and comics? Obviously, we had the Melissa Joan Hart series, but that was a different thing. But the original, it was a great show, but just different. Original comics, original novels. Colvina Magic says there's a lot of depth that still has yet to play out between Nick and Prudence's characters. Do you know much about that? Have you kind of look back or trying to play it fresh?
They keep us in the dark. They keep us in the dark. We don't know nothing.
Yeah.
And then we honestly, we get the scripts, we have our table reads, and then we just go along with it. And whatever happens sort of happens. And sometimes it surprises us. And it goes a completely different direction than you imagine. And I will say this, though, I feel like the general vibe that is received from fans, from you guys who watch the show, that is such a great influence on how the show plays out, how it's written. The creatives on the show are so intuitive and perceptive that they pay attention to what people want, and they kind of cater to it, and they play the story out based on what people are rooting for. Am I right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So like Gavin was saying, we end up getting taken on a ride in that way, and it's interesting to see where things go. And I did have a lot of fun doing our finale scene from part 3.
Yeah, good segue again. You guys just keep leading into the questions. I like it, Tati, because this often comes up and it becomes a very big item of discussion online, and that is the ships in these types of series. And obviously there was Nabrina, and people want Nabrina Endgame is the new thing that's out there. No matter what happens, it's about Nabrina, but that's in a rocky place, right? And we have Pambrose that was left in a...
Hold on, can I just change really quick? I really want to change the Pambrose name because I think Ambrance sounds so much cooler. I'm just throwing it out there, guys. You can choose to take it or not, but I like Ambrance a lot.
I like that. It was funny. I was trying to do Urals beforehand, and I was like, Nudins. It would be like Nudins or Pickles, and those just
prick is another one, and that's just a mean word.
Right.
Yeah.
It's never gonna work. Not with that.
There it is, right there. That's how you know it's just not.
Yep.
Well, again, and we don't want to spoil it for fans. Obviously, we're stuck in this time of pause, if you will, and we know we're all excited, but for part 4 and hopefully potentially a part 5. But I don't know. We do leave. You mentioned it, Tati. A beautiful final scene with Nick and Prudence on the steps there at the end. Without giving anything away, is there what do you think is next, or what would you like to see, you personally sort of like to see next for the characters? And this is a shout out to a ton of people: Paula Hernandez, Sebastian CG, Lysar, Herald of Hell, all asking about sort of what you're most excited about coming in part 4.
Well, as far with all the characters, or specifically Nick and Prudence?
I mean, specifically your character, and then if it relates to Nick and Prudence, sure, yeah.
This is the hardest thing for me not to give spoilers.
I know.
It happens. We shot it.
That's why my answers are always so short, because I'm just like, I might say too much. But I think I'm most excited I'm excited to see what Father Blackwood's got going and where that storyline goes.
Yep.
I'm excited to see if Prudence ever gets her revenge. I'm excited to see how the characters' relationships develop, because I think that you get a lot of that in part 4 is you see the relationships start to change and mature, I guess. And what I really loved about when what Gavin and I talked a lot about when we did that final scene in part 3 was the history that Prudence and Nick do have, and the fact that they will always, have, when you spend so much time with someone, or whether being with them or just in the same proximity, you do develop a love for somebody and a sense of solidarity, whether you want to tap into that or not. So I think particularly for Nick and Prudence, seeing their friendship and that sort of solidarity beyond all of the drama is really great. So yeah, I think I'm ready for everybody. Just get redemption.
Oh, all right, cool. Gavin, things you're looking forward to, without giving away any specific plot details, but just things you're excited for.
Yeah, I mean, I really love that. That's like the last little tableau we see is, you know, two friends that had experienced hurt from their partners in one way or another, you know. And I think that that love there in that moment is like Prudence and Nick can really benefit from each other because they're both in that tough place, like Tati's saying, they're in that solidarity, and they do have that history, and they do have a love there, and their understanding of each other, and they can really sort of like utilize their relationship in order to move forward. But there's so much coming in part 4 that everyone's got to put their own stuff to the side a little bit in order to handle and deal
Right.
like the, you know, I mean, Blackwood says it, right? He says the Eldritch are coming.
Yeah.
Right. So like
There's
that, it's unlike
there's some time paradoxes. Anytime time travel comes into play, we know we got a season coming up. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're, you know, in part 4, we're seeing a level of evil that we haven't experienced yet in the show, and it really does take the efforts of everyone to band together.
Right.
And it's fun to see that dynamic play out.
Awesome. We're almost out of time, which is so sad. It's been such a lovely conversation. I want to remind the fans watching at home, though, if you do have an individual question for these amazing folks, definitely take advantage of those virtual experiences, the one-on-one video chats, those autographs, the video recorded messages. I just want, it's such a cool series. Obviously, we creator of Glee, Big Love, Riverdale, and then moving on to Chilling Adventures, Roberto, and I always butcher his last name, Aguirre Sacasa. Yeah, that's so much beautifully. Can you say it? Can you say it?
Roberto Aguirre Sacasa.
Oh, way more beautiful. Thank you. I butchered it.
Yeah. He's even heard me say his name before. I don't think that he has.
So good. So good.
Memo just saying that.
I just want to talk about the relationship really quick. It's personally, I want to wish everyone out there watching a happy Pride, and also a shout out to Black Lives Matter. The show is so diverse and really just represents all the queer community, you know what I mean, and all different relationships and sexualities. And the sexuality is so fluid in the series, from, you know, all the different, you know, Ambrose and Theo, and I mean, you all know Zelda recently with Mama. Well, gosh, what's her character's name again?
Mama Marie.
Mama Marie. There it is. I just love to hear your reflection, because this is a question that actually came from some fans that are queer folks watching the show, and LGBTQ plus. And I know I was missed one A. Sebastian CG specifically is how do you feel being a part of a series that really, and it doesn't get pushed on you. It just is there, and it's accepted, and it's real. And so I'm just curious about, you know, how you feel again on Pride Day, sort of being part of this important series to that community out there.
I mean, honestly, it's amazing, like, because I always feel that art should always reflect life, and if we're not reflecting life, then we're not doing our job properly.
Yeah.
And so in that way, yeah, I really am grateful to Roberto for being the champion of that, and for like never making it a thing, never making it have to be, and always being open to conversation as well when it comes to, like, say if he has written something that is a little touchy or is a little like, I don't think that he's always open to like us saying like, hey Roberto, I don't think that that's cool. I think you should change it to be this. And he's very like, yeah, he's like, I want to learn. I want to do right. So yeah, it's beautiful. And it's like, I have so many close friends that are part of the LGBTQ community. I consider myself part of the LGBTQ community. So yeah, that's
no, that's awesome.
I can't say any more than that. It's just it's amazing.
Yeah. Gavin?
I second all of that as well. I mean, it's great. Like Tati, what did you say? Art should always reflect life. I really like that. That's good. It's true. Like, I love that we're in this fantasy world of witches and warlocks, and yet we're bringing in such human things that are prevalent and in our world, and to make it something that is surrounded in understanding and love and support is just a beautiful thing. Like, that's all you hope for, is to be a part of something that's spreading a message that comes from that place of compassion and love and openness. And I think that's where we're headed as a society. You know, it's like we're becoming more compassionate, we're becoming more open, we're becoming more understanding about it. And like, we should continue that fight and continue doing that work to just know each other and to embrace it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well said, both of you. Thank you, Tati and Gavin. It's a beautiful show where it's also just, it's a chilling show. We're excited for all the craziness that's going to happen in part 4. Again, fingers crossed for part 5. We know it's on the horizon. So best of luck from all the fans out there watching. We just want to say thank you. Shout out your country and state again. I just want, my gosh, so many people already huge fans from around the world showing their love out there on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Final things you just want to say to the fans, and then we'll be done for today, but we can't wait to see you in the future. So yeah, any final shout out to the fans watching?
Todd?
Everybody, I guess, stay safe. Stay happy. Make sure you're keeping your joy during this time. Like, I know there's a lot happening in the world, but make sure you're protecting your heart and you're keeping that spirit alive. As well as, guys, learn tolerance, educate yourselves about the world, about the people that you surround yourselves with. Learn how to be a global citizen. And yeah,
Awesome.
All light and love to everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Tati.
Drink water. I always see that. Drink water. It's like, it's such a great reminder. I get
really
from
good.
fans all the time. I see in the DMs and in comments, drink water. So this is my turn to say to you guys, drink water, stay hydrated, stay healthy. And what Tati said, I second all of that. Like, cultivate love, cultivate compassion, spend time with your loved ones, learn, have conversations, and all the love in the world. And thank you guys for watching and chatting with Tots and I in this. Yeah. It's such a great thing.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, Gavin. Thank you, Tati. Be a global citizen. I think great sentiment because we have global fans watching Nevada, Italy, California, Canada, where else? Mexico, Illinois, Norway. Oh my gosh. Italy on Facebook. Where else? From around the world are watching. Thank you so much, both for being here. On behalf of all the fans, we say thank you. So one more time, show me that love out there. Applaud with your family or your loved ones. We won't hear you.
I applaud you guys.
Yeah. I want that crowd to emoji wildly in all the streams. Give us your hearts. Give us your thumbs up. Give us your crazy and inventive emojis on Twitch. One more big shout out and love to the cast of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Let's hear it for Tati Gabrielle and Gavin Leatherwood.
Guys, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Oh man, what an amazing show. Again, as Gavin mentioned up front, folks are rewatching series again and again because we're all stuck inside. So definitely take that opportunity. All parts are on Netflix currently. I will warn you, there is a cliffhanger of sorts at the end of 3, and we don't know when we're getting 4 just yet. So decide when you want to put yourself through that. But it's such an amazing show. And definitely head to wizardworldvirtual.com again to purchase those one-on-one video chats. They'll be on sale throughout midweek next week when they'll be doing them. We'll be returning with Gavin and Tati here for those one-on-one video chats on Wednesday and Thursday. They're doing autographs, they're doing video recorded messages. So treat yourself if you can. We know times are tough, but that's why we're bringing these panels to you completely free and completely live. We've got Outlander tomorrow, Supernatural in Riverdale. Speaking of some crossovers, I might ask them about some crossovers in Riverdale over there. See what happens there. Yeah. Blazing Saddles and Sons of Anarchy on July 18th. On behalf of Wizard World Virtual Experiences, follow us at Wizard World on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Ask those questions. My name is Mike G. You can follow me at Mike G Does Things to submit those questions early. It's been a pleasure, Tati, Gavin. Thank you so much one more time. We're out of here, everybody. Happy Pride. Happy Pride and Black Lives Matter.
Happy Pride, everybody.
Yeah.
And Black Lives, all Black Lives Matter. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Love.